That means stressing about a typo in your email hits your body almost the same way as seeing a bear in the woods. Some people send the email and forget it. Overthinkers? We fight invisible bears all day long. And here's the wild part. Those invisible bears are everywhere. You send a text, boom, a bear. You say something slightly awkward at a party, another bear. You post on Instagram and then spend the next hour wondering if people thought your caption was clever or cringe. Congratulations, you've got a whole zoo of bears following you. Now, the scary thing isn't that your brain freaks out. It's that your body believes it. Your heart rate jumps, your stomach knots up, your muscles tense like you're about to wrestle a grizzly. But the only thing you're actually wrestling with is your own thoughts. And that's why overthinking feels so exhausting. It tricks your system into running an emergency drill for problems that don't even exist. Meanwhile, the non-overthinkers, the rare unicorns of society, they're out here living like it's easy mode. They say the wrong thing, laugh it off, and keep moving. Drop food on themselves, quick joke, wipe, done. Forget to respond to a text for 3 days. They reply sorry, well, and move on with life. Meanwhile, us overthinkers are writing a 300-page novel in our head about how that one delay probably ruined the relationship forever. So let's break this down. If overthinking is fighting invisible bears, then the first step is realizing there are no bears, at least not the kind you think. And once you see that, the game starts to change. Chapter 1, what overthinking really is. Most people think overthinking is just thinking too much. But that is not true. Thinking a lot can actually be useful. That is how we solve problems, write music, create inventions, or build businesses. Overthinking is different. Overthinking is when your brain mistakes thinking for progress. It is when you are not moving forward at all. You are just stuck, circling the same thought again and again, like a hamster running on a wheel. Picture this. Two people face the same situation. The first person looks at it, makes a choice, and takes action. Even if it is not perfect, they move forward. The second person, the overthinker, pulls out the mental magnifying glass. They zoom in on every small detail, predict every possible disaster. And by the time they are ready to act, the chance is already gone. The first person gets results. The overthinker gets stress. And I know this because I have lived it. I remember one night when I sent an email that had a small typo. Instead of writing thank you, I accidentally wrote thanks you. Just 2 words swapped around. My brain treated it like I had destroyed my reputation. I lay in bed imagining the other person reading it, zooming in, showing their friends, laughing at me. The truth? They probably did not even notice. But my brain? It made that little mistake feel like the end of the world. That is overthinking. Overthinking is the art of turning a paper cut into open heart surgery. It is mental quicksand. You move, but you sink deeper. And the more you try to fix it inside your head, the worse it gets. So what is the real truth? Overthinking is not about being smart. It is not about being careful. It is about getting trapped inside your own mental loops. And once you realize it is a trap, you can start catching yourself in the act. And that is the first step to breaking free. Chapter 2, the science behind overthinking. Your brain is not broken, it is just old. It was designed thousands of years ago for survival, not for modern life. Back then, our ancestors needed to scan for danger every second. A rustle in the bushes might mean a lion. A shadow in the dark could be an enemy. So the brain became really good at replaying things and predicting threats. Fast forward to today, and that same survival system is still running inside us. But here's the problem. The threats are different now. You are not worried about lions chasing you. You are worried about sending the wrong text, messing up at work, or saying something awkward in front of friends. But your brain does not know the difference. It reacts to embarrassment the same way it reacts to danger. That is why your heart races when you think you said something stupid. That is why your stomach knots up when you remember a mistake. To your brain, those small social risks feel like life or death. It is like using a fire alarm to warn you about burnt toast. The signal is real, but the danger is not. Think about it like this. Two people forget to reply to a message. The first person shrugs, sends a quick sorry later, and moves on. The overthinker spends the next 2 hours imagining that their friend feels ignored, betrayed, maybe even hates them now. One person's brain says all good. The other person's brain says, we are under attack. Overthinking is not weakness. It is an ancient survival system working in the wrong context. Your brain evolved to protect you, but now it is protecting you from things that are not actually dangerous. And that is why it feels endless, because the brain is doing its job, just in the wrong environment. Chapter 3, why overthinking feels endless. Here's the real trap of overthinking. Once it starts, it feeds itself. A thought creates an emotion. That emotion creates more thoughts. And then, those thoughts create even stronger emotions. It is a loop. And the loop does not stop just because you tell yourself to relax. Picture this. You send a message to someone. Minutes go by. They do not reply. Your first thought is simple. Maybe they are busy. Then the emotion shows up. You start to feel anxious. That anxiety sparks more thoughts. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe they are mad at me. That creates even more emotions. And before you know it, you are sitting there, spiraling, heart racing, imagining the end of the friendship, all from one unanswered text. This is why overthinking feels endless. Because the brain is not just replaying the thought, it is building a story. And every story adds more fuel to the fire. I once sent the wrong emoji to someone. That was it, one little yellow face with the wrong expression. And I spent the rest of the night trying to decode how they might take it. Would they think I was being sarcastic? Too friendly? My brain wrote an entire script for a situation that was over in 2 seconds. The other person probably never even noticed. But in my head, it became a full-blown drama. The truth is, overthinking turns small moments into movies. It takes silence and fills it with noise. And because the brain hates unfinished business, it keeps looping the same scene again and again, searching for closure that never comes. That is why it feels so heavy. You are not just thinking once. You are reliving the same moment 100 different ways. And until you catch yourself in the loop, it feels like there is no exit. Chapter 4. The Hidden Costs of Overthinking. Overthinking is not just annoying, it is expensive. It steals time, energy, sleep, and even creativity. And the worst part is, you do not even notice how much it takes until you look back and realize how many hours you lost inside your own head. Think about decision making. Some people look at a menu, scan for 10 seconds, pick something, and boom, done. Overthinkers? We analyze the entire thing like it is a contract negotiation. We wonder if we will regret it later, if the portion will be too small, if the waiter will judge us. By the time we decide, everyone else is halfway through dessert. And sleep. Forget it. Overthinkers can lie in bed for hours, replaying a conversation or predicting how tomorrow will go. Meanwhile, the non-overthinkers put their head on the pillow, and 5 minutes later, they are out cold. They wake up refreshed. We wake up tired because we just spent the whole night fighting imaginary problems. It even kills creativity. When you are constantly scanning for mistakes, you are too scared to experiment. You cannot write freely if you are editing every word in your head before it even leaves your mouth. You cannot take risks if you are already imagining the disaster before you start. Overthinking does not just block progress, it buries it. The best way I can explain it is this. Overthinking is like trying to untangle headphones by tying more knots. You think you are fixing it, but you are only making it worse. And while you are doing that, life is passing you by. The real cost of overthinking is not the stress you feel in the moment. It is the opportunities you miss while you are trapped inside your head. Chapter 5. How to Stop Overthinking. Here's the part you have been waiting for. How do you actually stop overthinking? Because if all I did was tell you that overthinking is bad, that would just give you more to overthink about. The first tool is grounding yourself in the present. When you notice your brain spinning, ask yourself one simple question. What is happening right now? Not what happened yesterday, not what might happen tomorrow. Right now. Look around the room. Notice what you see, what you hear, what you feel. It sounds simple, but pulling your focus back to reality breaks the loop your brain is stuck in. The second tool is writing your thoughts down. When your brain is crowded, put it on paper. Something powerful happens when you see your thoughts outside your head. They lose their weight. Half the time, you read it back and think, wow, that sounded dramatic in my mind, but on paper it looks kind of silly. That distance helps you breathe. The third tool is giving yourself permission to make decisions with a good enough mindset. Overthinkers get trapped because we want perfect. The perfect reply, the perfect plan, the perfect outcome. But perfect does not exist, and chasing it keeps you frozen. So flip the script. Instead of asking, is this the best choice? Ask, is this choice good enough to move forward? Progress beats perfection every single time. The fourth tool is setting a mental timer. Tell yourself, I will give this problem 10 minutes of thought, then I act. Treat it like a deadline. When the time is up, you move. This stops you from letting small choices eat your entire day. And finally, the fifth tool is this. Laugh at it. Humor is a weapon. If your brain is acting like a drama queen, call it out. Imagine you are watching your thoughts as a ridiculous TV show. The moment you stop taking them so seriously, they lose their power. Here's a challenge. The next time you feel yourself spiraling, pause this video. Try one of these tools and see what happens. Because knowledge means nothing unless you put it into practice. Chapter 6. Joe's Story of Breaking Free. I will be real with you. I did not learn this stuff from some book. I learned it because I got tired of living in my own head. There was this one moment that hit me hard. I was invited to speak at a small event. Nothing crazy, just a group of people, a few chairs, a microphone. And the night before, I could not sleep. My brain went into full panic mode. What if I forget my lines? What if I look nervous? What if someone in the back row laughs at me? I was fighting invisible bears all night long. By the time morning came, I was exhausted. And here's the twist. When I actually stood on stage, none of that happened. People listened. Some nodded along, a few even smiled. Afterward, someone came up and said, that really helped me. That was it, all that torture in my head. And reality turned out fine. That was the first time I realized overthinking is like a bad fortune teller. It predicts disaster, but it almost never comes true. And even when it does, it is never as bad as my brain told me it would be. So I made a small shift. Instead of asking, what if it goes wrong? I started asking, what if it goes right? What if the email typo does not ruin my career? What if the silence in the chat is just because the person is busy? What if the speech actually lands? That shift changed everything. I still catch myself overthinking sometimes, but now I have tools. I breathe, I write it down, I laugh at it. I remind myself that my brain is wired to spot lions in the bushes, not typos in emails. And every time I break free from that loop, I get a little more time back to actually live. The truth is, overthinking never disappears completely, but it does lose its grip once you see it for what it really is. A chapter, The 5-Minute Rule of Overthinking. Here's the big takeaway. Overthinking is not thinking. It is stalling. It is your brain running emergency drills for disasters that almost never happen. So here's the rule I want you to remember. If something will not matter 5 years from now, do not spend more than 5 minutes stressing about it. That is it. The 5-minute rule. Simple but powerful. You send a text and regret the wording. 5 minutes. You replay that awkward laugh you made in front of your crush. 5 minutes. You cannot decide what shirt to wear. 5 minutes. If it will not matter in the long run, it does not deserve to take over your life today. The people who live lighter are not the ones with perfect lives. They are the ones who do not waste hours fighting invisible bears. They see the thought, they laugh at it, and they keep moving. So the next time you feel your brain spiraling, remember this. Your thoughts are not always facts. Most of them are just noise, and you are allowed to step off the hamster wheel.